By the 22nd day after conception, a tiny structure within the developing embryo begins to contract rhythmically, the earliest form of a heartbeat. At this point, the embryo is still a simple mass of cells, far from resembling a human being. Yet within this unformed shape, a crucial biological signal emerges, the first coordinated movement that will sustain life. This primitive heartbeat marks the beginning of circulation, pushing blood through the forming tissues and enabling further growth. Though invisible and silent to the outside world, this pulse is the embryo's first step toward becoming a living, breathing individual. It's a quiet but powerful moment, the body's earliest declaration of life, long before consciousness, limbs, or identity take shape. When exposed to specific forms of high-energy X-ray radiation, human bones emit a faint glow due to the presence of calcium compounds within the skeletal structure. This subtle fluorescence isn't visible under normal conditions, but under controlled imaging environments, it becomes detectable and useful. The phenomenon occurs because calcium reacts to the energy by releasing photons, creating a soft luminescence that can be captured with specialized equipment. This effect plays a role in advanced medical diagnostics and scientific research, helping experts visualize bone composition, detect abnormalities, and study mineral density. Though the glow is delicate, it reveals hidden properties of the skeleton that are otherwise invisible to the naked eye, offering insights into both health and biology. During moments of intense concentration, whether immersed in a fast-paced video game or absorbed in a gripping movie scene, the frequency of blinking decreases significantly. This isn't a conscious decision, but rather a neurological response. The brain shifts its priorities, favoring uninterrupted visual processing over routine eye lubrication. Blinking, which normally occurs to keep the eyes moist and protected, is temporarily suppressed to avoid missing critical visual details. The result is a kind of tunnel vision, where the body instinctively minimizes distractions to maintain focus. While this adaptation enhances short-term attention, it can lead to dry or strained eyes if sustained for long periods without breaks. Oxford University began offering lectures as early as 1096, placing its origins well before the rise of the Aztec civilization. While scholars were already gathering in medieval England to study philosophy, theology, and the sciences, the Aztecs had yet to establish their first city. It wasn't until around 1325 that the foundations of Tenochtitlan were laid, marking the beginning of their empire in the Valley of Mexico. This timeline reveals a striking contrast. A European institution of higher learning was thriving centuries before the Aztecs built their iconic capital. The overlap of these historical milestones highlights how vastly different cultures evolved on separate trajectories, with Oxford's legacy stretching back further than one of the most renowned civilizations of the Americas. Every single minute, your body releases tens of thousands of skin cells, a quiet, continuous process that goes unnoticed but never stops. Over the course of a year, this natural shedding adds up to nearly 9 pounds of dead skin. These microscopic flakes drift into the air, settle on surfaces, and contribute significantly to the dust that accumulates in your living space. In fact, a surprising portion of household dust is made up of particles that once formed the outermost layer of your skin. It's a subtle reminder of how the body constantly renews itself, discarding the old to make way for the new, and leaving traces of that renewal scattered throughout your environment. Botanical definitions often defy everyday expectations. For example, bananas qualify as true berries, while strawberries do not. In plant science, a berry is a fruit that develops from a single ovary and contains seeds embedded within its flesh. Bananas meet these criteria perfectly, growing from one ovary and housing their seeds internally, even if those seeds are tiny and undeveloped. Strawberries, on the other hand, form from a flower with multiple ovaries, resulting in a structure known as an aggregate fruit. What we commonly think of as strawberry seeds, on the surface are actually individual fruits called achenes, each with its own seed inside. So despite their name and appearance, strawberries fall outside the botanical definition of a berry, while bananas quietly fit it. Octopuses possess a uniquely complex circulatory system, powered by 3 separate hearts and filled with blue, copper-rich blood. 2 of these hearts are dedicated to moving blood through the gills, where oxygen is absorbed, while the third circulates it throughout the rest of the body. Interestingly, when an octopus swims, the central heart responsible for systemic circulation temporarily halts, making swimming a more energy-intensive activity. This is one reason why these creatures tend to favor crawling along the ocean floor, a method that allows all 3 hearts to function efficiently. Their blue blood, unlike the iron-based red blood of humans, is better suited for transporting oxygen in cold, low-oxygen environments, giving them an evolutionary edge in the deep sea. The human tongue carries a distinct set of physical traits, from its shape and surface texture to the intricate pattern of grooves and ridges, that make it as individually identifiable as a fingerprint. These features are so unique from person to person that, in theory, biometric systems could use tongue prints for secure identification. Unlike other body parts, the tongue remains protected inside the mouth, reducing exposure and wear, which helps preserve its structural details. Over time, researchers have explored this concept in advanced security studies, noting that the tongue's combination of muscular structure and surface geometry offers a reliable marker for identity verification. Though not commonly used, its potential in biometric technology highlights just how complex and personal our anatomy truly is. Wombats produce cube-shaped feces, a rare biological trait that serves a practical purpose in the wild. These compact, angular droppings are less likely to roll away, making them ideal for marking territory on uneven surfaces like rocks and logs. This unusual shape results from the way their intestines contract and expand during digestion. Unlike most animals, wombats have regions in their intestines with varying elasticity, which gradually molds the waste into distinct edges. The final product emerges with flat sides and sharp corners, allowing it to stay put where it's dropped. This quirky adaptation helps wombats communicate presence and dominance without relying on scent alone. Sharks have been navigating Earth's oceans for more than 400 million years, making them one of the planet's oldest surviving species. Their evolutionary history stretches back to a time long before forests emerged. In fact, the earliest trees didn't appear until roughly 350 million years ago. This means sharks were already thriving in ancient seas while the land remained barren, without the towering greenery we associate with modern landscapes. Their existence predates not only forests but also many other forms of complex life, showcasing an extraordinary resilience and adaptability. These marine predators have witnessed mass extinctions, shifting continents, and dramatic climate changes, yet their core design has remained remarkably effective across the ages. In the vacuum of space, traditional sound waves can't travel, but astronauts still perceive certain noises thanks to bone conduction. Vibrations from the spacecraft, transmitted through solid surfaces like helmets or suit frames, reach the inner ear by bypassing the usual air-based pathway. Instead of relying on sound waves moving through air, these mechanical signals travel directly through the bones of the skull, allowing astronauts to hear internal hums, machinery shifts, or structural movements. This phenomenon plays a subtle yet important role in spatial awareness and equipment monitoring during missions, offering a sensory connection to the environment even in complete silence. During the warmer months, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a subtle transformation. Its iron structure expands in response to rising temperatures, causing the monument to grow taller by up to 15 centimeters. This change isn't permanent. It's a reversible effect of thermal expansion, a physical property of metal that causes it to stretch slightly when heated. As the sun warms the tower's surface, the iron elongates, increasing its overall height until cooler weather returns and the structure contracts back to its original dimensions. Though the shift is minor and invisible to the naked eye, it's a fascinating reminder that even iconic landmarks are subject to the laws of physics. On the distant exoplanet HD 189733b, weather conditions are beyond anything seen on Earth. Winds whip across its atmosphere at staggering speeds of up to 7,000 kilometers per hour, powerful enough to drive molten glass sideways through the air. This violent spectacle is made possible by the planet's silicate-rich atmosphere, where high temperatures vaporize minerals that later condense and fall as glass-like rain. Instead of gentle droplets, the skies unleash razor-sharp particles, propelled by hurricane-force gusts. The result is a storm system so extreme it redefines what we think of as harsh weather, a world where beauty and brutality collide in every shimmering, sideways downpour. The term robot has its roots in the Czech word robota, which translates to forced labor or drudgery. It was introduced to the world in 1920 through a groundbreaking play by Czech writer Karel Čapek titled R.U.R. Rossum's Universal Robots. In this story, robots were not metallic machines as we imagine today, but synthetic beings designed to perform menial tasks and serve human needs. The concept captured the tension between technological advancement and human identity, sparking philosophical debates that still resonate. Over time, the word evolved beyond its theatrical origins to define a vast category of automated systems, but its etymology remains a reminder of its original association with servitude and control. The human stomach is equipped with a powerful defense mechanism. It regenerates its inner lining every few days to protect itself from its own corrosive acid. This renewal cycle, occurring roughly every 72 to 96 hours, ensures that the stomach's tissue remains intact despite being exposed to hydrochloric acid strong enough to break down food, and potentially the stomach itself. Without this constant rebuilding process, the digestive system would begin to erode from within. It's a quiet but vital act of self-preservation, part of the body's ongoing effort to maintain balance and function under extreme conditions. Beneath the surface, survival depends on this relentless cellular turnover. The moon isn't as silent as it seems. Beneath its surface, seismic tremors known as moonquakes occasionally ripple through the lunar crust. These events were first detected by instruments left behind during NASA's Apollo missions, revealing that the moon experiences internal movements similar to earthquakes. Some of these quakes are triggered by tidal forces from Earth's gravitational pull, while others originate deep within the moon itself. Unlike typical quakes on Earth, deep moonquakes can persist for up to 10 minutes, sending vibrations through the rocky layers. Though the moon lacks tectonic plates, its seismic activity offers valuable clues about its internal structure and long-term geological evolution. Lexical gustatory synesthesia is a rare neurological phenomenon where language triggers taste sensations. For individuals with this condition, hearing or reading specific words can evoke distinct flavors, not metaphorically, but as a real sensory experience. A word like jail might unexpectedly bring the taste of cold bacon, while another term could conjure chocolate or citrus. These associations are involuntary and consistent, often forming early in life and remaining stable over time. Scientists believe this cross-wiring between language and taste centers in the brain creates a unique sensory overlap, turning everyday communication into a vivid, multisensory encounter that blends meaning with flavor. Turritopsis dohrnii, often referred to as the immortal jellyfish, possesses a rare biological ability that allows it to reverse its aging process. When faced with injury, stress, or natural decline, this tiny marine creature can transform its mature cells back into a juvenile state, essentially restarting its life cycle. Instead of dying, it reverts to its polyp form, the earliest stage of development, and begins growing anew. This cellular reprogramming defies the typical rules of aging and death, making it one of the few known organisms capable of true biological regeneration. Its unique life cycle has fascinated scientists, offering insights into cellular plasticity and the potential boundaries of life itself. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis is a parasitic fungus with a chilling method of survival. It invades the body of an ant and hijacks its nervous system, manipulating the insect's behavior with eerie precision. Once infected, the ant is compelled to leave its colony and climb vegetation, where it clamps onto a leaf or twig in a death grip. After the host dies, the fungus continues its takeover by sprouting a stalk from the ant's body, releasing spores to infect others. This biological puppet master doesn't just kill, it controls, turning its victim into a vessel for reproduction. The phenomenon is a striking example of nature's darker strategies, where survival depends on mind control and manipulation. Genetic studies reveal that individuals of non-African descent typically carry between 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA, a legacy of ancient interbreeding that occurred tens of thousands of years ago. When early Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa, they encountered Neanderthals in Europe and Asia, and these interactions left lasting genetic imprints. Far from being insignificant, these inherited fragments continue to shape aspects of modern biology, influencing immune system responses, sleep patterns, pain sensitivity, and even emotional regulation. Though Neanderthals vanished as a distinct species, their genetic echoes remain embedded in our DNA, subtly affecting how our bodies and minds function today. Lake Nyos in Cameroon holds a hidden danger beneath its calm surface, a deep reservoir of carbon dioxide trapped under pressure. In 1986, this invisible threat erupted without warning, releasing a dense cloud of gas that swept through nearby valleys, displacing oxygen and suffocating over 1,700 people and countless animals within minutes. The phenomenon, known as a limnic eruption, occurs when volcanic activity or landslides disturb the lake's lower layers, triggering a sudden release of CO2. Because the gas is heavier than air, it flows silently and swiftly, making escape nearly impossible. This rare geological event turned the lake into one of the most lethal natural hazards ever recorded.